Last month we had She Squad with Maria and Roxy, and it was amazing, and I thought it couldn't be topped. And then Angela's coming, and she is also amazing, and I'm just so blessed to have everybody want to share with you guys. So Angela, if you want to come up and you can introduce yourself.
Met a couple of you already, but I first want to say thank you, Jessica, for the opportunity for asking me when I met you last time. To all of you amazing women here, happy Wednesday to you. And a little bit about me. My name is author Angela Wynette. I am born and raised from here, so this is home, this is my roots, so this is where it always started. So I get excited when I get to come back home and speak to lovely women, to inspire them, to motivate them. I am a life coach. I'm a motivational speaker. I am an author. I have 5 books out. I'll talk to you about those in just a second. And then I'm also a flight attendant, so I have several jobs, guys. So I'm all over the place, but I tell people all the time, and it's a couple people who have networked with me who know if you reach out to me, I am available. I will comment back. I will text you, call you, whatever the case is. But a little bit about my books. I have 5. They started during the pandemic. I was always a writer. I grew up, loved writing. I always was a speaker. My dad is a pastor, so I was always forced to be up in front of people. And at the time I hated it, and I was like, oh my God, I just want to be in the corner, leave me alone. And so then all of my friends kind of gave me this nickname growing up as Mama Angie, because I was always that person growing up that always gave good advice or could motivate you, inspire you. But little did people know that even though I was so good at pouring into others, I suffered from depression and self-esteem issues. And I was so unhappy at such a young age, and I could not figure out why. Because my parents are high school sweethearts. They're still together to this day, 40 plus years. My dad is a pastor. My mom is an elementary teacher. She's now a daycare director. And, you know, I have brothers and sister siblings. I grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood, went to a great school. So I was not exposed to any bad, but I was unhappy. And I could not figure out why. And it wasn't until I got older and I realized that I was so busy pouring into everybody else, being what everybody else wanted me to be, that I did not know what I wanted to be. So I was lost. I was drowning. I was being everything everybody else wanted me to be, but I wasn't happy because I did not know who Angela was. I did not know who I wanted to be. And so because of that, I just felt myself going in this whirlwind, in this cycle of confusion, until I became an adult and life started happening. And then I had to find my own identity. And life happened for me in college when I was 18 going on 19, starting my first semester, and now I'm diagnosed with cancer. First and only case in my family. I'm just starting life. Finally feel like I'm finding myself because now I'm out of my parents' house. I get to pick and choose what I want to do. And then it's like, boop, no, here's this little insert. Now I'm going to make it even harder for you while you're trying to find yourself. So if you can imagine being 19 years old, really don't know who you are, what you want to do, what you're about, and then now you get thrown this curveball. And so with this curveball, life became even harder. And so now I'm all over the place, and now I'm making bad decisions because I'm unhappy. And I'm mad that I'm waking up every day when I really just wait, God, go ahead and take me now. Because I'm tired, I'm mad, I'm confused, I don't really know what I want to do, why am I still here? And so I go through cancer, and going through cancer, I still managed to go to school, still graduated with honors, still held a job, because I was one of those people. I was one of those people that no matter what, even though I was depressed, even though I didn't know what I was going through, I was one of those, I still was gonna pour myself into something because I needed to stay busy. Because it was helpful for me if I did not stop and deal with my issues, then I could just keep going. So school was what kept me going. I still kept a job, and then graduate from college, and now I'm like, okay, let's see what we're gonna do now because now I don't have a distraction. And then here comes the second boom. Get the diagnosis of, now you cannot be a mother. And it's like, wow, that's the only thing I thought, okay, this is what I can have to give back, to do, and then they take that option from you. So now life is even more difficult, even more hard. And then I found myself in a relationship with a guy that was 27 years older than me. and my sugar daddy, to say the least. And, you know, and so, hey, I will tell on me because I want to inspire other women to don't make the choices that I made. Deal with your issues. And because I did not, I married him because I was in this state of bad depression so bad that I was like, if I cannot have a kid, I'm broken. I'm bad, damaged goods. Nobody my age is gonna want me, so at least I can say I was married. At least I can say, okay, he has kids, so he's not missing out on something I can't give him. And so that's good enough, because I'm just gonna give up on life and, you know, whatever happens, happens. Well, God had other plans. And so he was like, I'm still gonna keep you here. And I was like, well, Lord, if I'm still here, then I guess I should do something about this, because this isn't gonna work. This isn't where I'm supposed to be. This is not who I'm supposed to be with. And so after 12 years of going in this toxic cycle, because it was toxic, he cheated on me every year. He had a baby on me, all of these wonderful things. And so, you know, things got bad, and then a friend came along. And a friend said, Angela, we're young. You don't have any kids. You're not happy. Let's be a flight attendant. I don't want to do that. What are you talking about? Flight attendant? Like, no. And so I was a manager at downtown Baylor. Had been working there for 11 years in the nursing field. Loved what I did, but I got stuck behind the desk. I'm a hands-on person, so not being able to interact with people and being able to have that connection, I was like, okay, I'm bored, I'm tired, this isn't gonna work. I wasn't happy at home. Life was just going through the motions. So I got mad one day, go in my office, close the door, let's apply. I applied, I get it. They call me within 3 weeks. Next thing I know, within 3 months, they're like, all right, you're starting, let's go. Oh, okay, this is happening. All right, so I become a flight attendant. I go, and we have bases all over. And so I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna pick Dallas on purpose because I'm gonna run away from my problems. So I'm gonna move. I'm gonna go across the state. I'm gonna move to Florida. And because he's older and his kids are here, his family's here, he's not gonna wanna pick up and move. He's not gonna wanna go, joke on me, yes he did. He came with me, unfortunately. And so during this time, he comes with me and I'm like, God, like, did I do this for the wrong reasons? Like, because I did this to get away from him. And he's here. And so, you know, now I'm even more frustrated because I'm thinking, I cannot find an out. Like, where's the light at the end of the tunnel? And so I'm in Miami now, I'm flying, and I'm getting all of these exposures. I'm meeting celebrities on my plane, and I'm like, oh, hey, I know you, you know. And life is great, so I think. And then I get another boom. And I'm 2 years into flying, and I get a call that says, hey, you need to rush back home because your little brother's in ICU. I make it back home the next morning before I could even land. He goes into cardiac arrest. We lose him 3 days later. 20 years old, lost him to diabetes. We thought it was a stomach virus. It was not, guys. So do not take things lightly when you do not feel well. Take them seriously because he claimed his life at 20. And so now I'm even more mad because I'm like, now God, I was a sick one. My parents were prepared for that. And so how could you take somebody that was perfectly fine 1 week and then the next week he's gone and yet you still left me here and I'm not happy? What is going on? What is your purpose for me? What am I doing wrong? And so it was in that moment where things just went chaotic in my relationship, and I finally got to my breaking point, and I said, you know what? I'm not doing this anymore. I gave him a 30-day notice, and I said, you have 30 days to figure out how you're gonna pay these bills by yourself because I'm choosing me. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna do it. And so 30 days went by. He didn't see me packing anything. He didn't see me do, you ain't going nowhere, you're not doing nothing, you don't have any money. One thing about my grandmother, she taught me well is, baby, always have a nest egg. So I had always been putting money back and always saving money. And so I left in those 30 days with just my clothes and my shoes.
Hello.
And I was like, I'm gonna figure it out. And that's what I did. And I moved into an apartment. Didn't care where it was. I was like, at this point, I don't care. Just give me somewhere. I moved in. All I had was a mattress in a box spring on the floor, and I was like, we're gonna make it work. And so, and I started from scratch. And I was there for a year in that position. And in that year, because I was off work because I got hurt, so God forced me to have to sit in that pain. And I had to deal with that. And when I dealt with it, I had to realize when I went to counseling to figure out why was I in this, what was going on, why am I going through this, I had to realize I was the common denominator in all of my problems. And every choice that I made, every person that I attached myself to, every place that I went, I was the problem because I was not addressing my problems. And so therefore my problems had started to control me. And I know a lot of us in this room have been there. Instead of dealing with our problems, we pour ourselves into our kids, into our jobs, into our spouses, until we lose ourselves and then we're mad, and then we're sad, and then we're angry, and we cannot figure out how to get out of that space. And I'm gonna tell you how to get out of that space. That space starts with you. You have to wake up in the morning and choose one day to say, you know what, I am enough. And because I am enough, I'm going to take the time to invest in me, to do what it takes to be the best version of me. And if that means that I have to walk away from friendships that's been 30 years just because of loyalty, but they're not serving me, I have to walk away. If I have to take time to figure out what I'm doing in this marriage, if it's not serving me, and if I'm gonna fight for it, if I'm gonna pick me and walk away, I have to make that decision. If I have to figure out that this job is no longer challenging me and I'm settling and I'm just here because I'm comfortable, then I need to look at what do I need to do next to get where I wanna be. Sometimes we have to make the hard decisions that start with us. And we don't wanna make that because we're comfortable, we're afraid, or we just don't know. And so that's where these books came along. I was furloughed as a flight attendant. And so I was home and I was like, you know what, okay, you know what? All of my friends keep saying, Angela, you need to put this on paper because you give great advice, you need to do this and that. So my first book came out, My Pain versus My Purpose. On that book cover, you will see two pictures. One of me in black and red, one of me in white. That's literally me divorcing me. That was me having to break up with me, my toxic relationships, my grief, my depression, overcoming my own mindset, because I would doubt myself. I would talk negative to myself, and we don't realize what we speak into us is actually what we display. And then we wonder why people treat us the way they do, and it's because we're teaching them how to treat us by how we treat ourselves. And so I had to learn that, Angela, how I carry myself is why I attract what I attract. And if I want different, I have to be different. And so that first book came out, and it's basically a tell-all about me overcoming grief, depression, toxic relationships, overcoming cancer, and breaking up with me, choosing to do better. That second book that was birthed from that book is The Hurt, Healed, the Happy. And it's literally a roadmap, step by step, of how I was able to achieve that. Because when that first book came out, everybody always kept asking me, but how did you get there? How did you start? And I know that's the biggest thing for a lot of people is we don't know where to start. And so that book, Hurt, Healed, Happy, was that roadmap of step by step of how I started. And I started with counseling, to be honest with myself, because our friends and family sometimes are yes people. They'll tell us what we want to hear. They're not honest with us. And so I had to choose somebody who did not know me, and all they're going off is what I'm telling them. And when they read you and gather you and tell you about yourself, it is not nice. But we need it, because the honesty is going to be what wakes us up. And so once I went to counseling, I then started to journal. And for me, journaling was an accountability because every day I had to write down a goal. And then at the end of the day, I had to see if I accomplished it. And then by the end of the week, I had to recap to see, did I do what I said I was going to do? And then if I did not, was I the problem? Or was it the people that I was surrounding myself with? Was it social media that I got caught up on, reality TV, or was I just lazy? And I didn't care enough to invest in me to see it through. And so those were things that I had to do in order to realize, okay, this is the work that I'm gonna have to take. I had to let go of friends that were comfortable. And I had to separate myself from relationships in order to work on me for the moment and lose those distractions, because sometimes we distract ourselves so that we don't have to pay attention to us. And that's a good way to keep us busy, but it's not healthy. Because at the end of the day, when you still go home after the distractions is over and after everything is said and done and you're sitting in that quietness, you're stuck with you. You're still stuck with those feelings. You're still stuck with how you feel, the sadness, the anger, the confusion. You're stuck with that. So you need to deal with that so when it does get silenced, the silence does not become so loud that it overpowers you and that you can enjoy the peace in the silence. And so that's what those first two books were about. Then I came out with the motivational journal that is the I Am Enough, because everybody kept saying, okay, I need a tool. Cool. So I came out with a 365-day journal. It's an everyday journal that describes exactly what I just said. Every day you have to write a goal. And at the end of that day, it makes you recap it. And at the end of the year, it asks you for what areas of growth do you see? What areas do you still see that you're lacking in? What areas do you see that, you know what, okay, I was the issue in this, but I wasn't in this, so maybe I need to reevaluate what I'm doing over here. This was a great starter. All of my friends, when I dropped this one at the 1st of January, we all started it together. And then every quarter, we came back every 3 months, had a girls' day with our wine down days. And over some wine, we would sit there and recap our growth in those 3 months to help us stay with accountability. And sometimes you need friends that will help you stay on track and not just tell you, oh, it's not that serious, it's okay, you don't have to worry about that. You do have to worry about that. Because if you have kids, it's up to you to break that cycle, because they're watching you and you're teaching them how to be by your actions. You're teaching your spouse how to love you or not love you by what you stick to. And so that journal is an accountability to help us be able to do that. And then the next book that I came out was The I'm Possible. It's my first kids book. It actually has gone very well. It's in daycares and schools right now, so I'm excited about that. Thank you. But that book, it goes, it's motivated to my nieces and nephews. They came over one day and they were like, oh my God, Amy, we want a picture with a book with our pictures on it. I was like, oh, okay, let me see how I'm gonna do that. So that book is dedicated to my nieces and nephews. And the book is literally motivating them that they can be whatever they want to be. Society does not have to decide that for them. Because a lot of times, nowadays, social media, the internet is influencing our children, unfortunately, because we leave them to their devices and we don't monitor it. And then when they start displaying behaviors and we're like, where did you get that from? It's because we're allowing these devices to teach them and grow them up instead of us. And so this book here is inspiring them that they can be whatever they want to be. Society does not have to determine that. It does not have to be a certain age for you to start discovering that. You can start discovering that now at 5 years old. And so that's what that book is about for them. And then the other book, the last book that I just put out, is called Through Your Eyes. It's a project that I did with my friends, and I interviewed them. And it's about questions that I asked them about how we don't realize what infects us and what inspires us. Like how we were raised, where we grew up, why we picked the jobs we picked, the mates that we pick. You know, did we grow up and we see toxic behavior? Is that why we attract that? Is that why we like that? Did we grow up around mediocrity? And that's why we're okay with being mediocre. You know, so we don't think about those things. So that book is an interview book that I did with them that makes you dive into what cultivates you as a person. What makes you who you are? Why do you think the way you think? Like the music that you do. Live where you live. Have the friends that you have. Things that we don't think about because we're just going through everyday cycles. Because we're just going through everyday routines and we don't really look to see where am I lacking or where am I excelling and then how can I do better in those areas. And so that's what those 5 books are about. I speak all over, so I tell people all the time, I do kids conferences, I do school seminars, all that, women's conferences. So if you guys need me, I am here. Again, I am reachable. I'm a life coach, so I do private sessions. If you have a book in you that you want to get out, I help people publish their books. So please feel free to reach out to me. I am so excited to be here to network with you ladies. I've met again some of you and some of your businesses. I love what you do. I'm excited about seeing what your future holds because you are enough. You are actually more than enough. Amen. So don't question that. So when you wake up in the morning, every day before your feet even touch the ground, you start with you, and whatever your name is, I'm going to have you practice with me. And when I say I am, you're going to say your name. I am. And I will be the best version of me. And no one will. Control or stop me. It starts with me. Thank you, ladies.